let's flip a coin. Head Carolina, tails California, somewhere greener, somewhere warmer.
Okay, it's Andy Graham of hoboontheroad.com, reminiscent of Togo. I'm thinking of Togo, where I could actually sit at breakfast and make these videos. The first place I really been in a long time where I actually had the privacy enough to do anything. In a hostel in Europe. I'm in Europe now, not Africa. Okay, I got a question. I'm Andy Graham of Hobo Traveler. I traveled non-stop for 16 plus years and went to 106 countries. I answer the traveler lifestyle questions, how to live abroad, I guess. Steve asked, very interesting comment from his point of view. Okay, the questions are, since you're taking your mom to Lake Atalan, Lago Atalan in Spanish, Lake Atalan, in Guatemala, I assume the suitcase packing is fine for traveling there, unlike your current Europe trip, where an extra wad of cash in your pocket for taxis would be needed. Let's clarify this. In Europe, I can't take taxis. In Guatemala and 200 countries on the planet, I can take a taxi because I can afford them. In Europe, for one thing, a lot of them are telephone call taxis. They don't just roam around the city looking for rides. In 200 countries, they just roam around they do both really, but they roam around and I do it. So I need a backpack in Europe 10 times more than I need one in Guatemala or Africa or Southeast Asia or 200 of the what they call poor countries. In the poor countries, I get to live like a king. In the rich countries, I get to live like a poor person. But he wants to ask the question, I'm going to go into this first. What is the tipping point where a traveler should toss the suitcase and move to a backpack? Many countries take US dollars or euros depending where you are. When do you decide local currency instead? I always use the local currency when that's not really a choice. There's countries that use euros and there's countries that use local currency, so that's not a choice. You don't really. You might be carrying dollars, or I carry dollars, and I carry dollars in any country I'm at in case I need. They're like my backup money, but I don't use them in the country. I just exchange them sometimes. I use things, but I use euros here, then I exchange them because I can't. The expense of taking them out of the ATM machine. So there's two questions here, but backpacks versus suitcases. When is the tipping point? The tipping point is when the person's. It's a cultural thing, really. People view themselves as when they have a backpack, that they're a young kid and they need this backpack. It has nothing to do with the fact of whether they need it or don't. So there's really, in actuality, the reality is the people that are carrying backpacks are because they want to be backpackers, part of this culture of backpackers, and the people that are carrying suitcase are wanting to be, they want to be the airline stewardess, trolley cart people. So there's two different cultures. One is how they want to envision themselves, okay? And then the more logical question of what you're asking, which is the good part about this question, is when is the tipping point when you should make a logical decision, okay? And that is then the big problem. They're not using logic. I normally buy a two-wheel cart when I come to Europe and carry a big backpack. This is the first time I've actually not made my backpack into a trolley cart, because in Europe it's very easy to walk 3 or 4 kilometers to your hotel, and so after carrying a 50-pound to 80-pound backpack, it's a killer, right? I went lighter this time, and I'm carrying about a 30 to 40-pound backpack, which means I can walk with that. Now what the true problem is that it's all dependent upon the transportation. In Europe, the public transportation is so bad, and you're going to think that's crazy, right? The public transportation and it's really the taxi transportation and the public transportation is so bad that they never help you, okay? So, I mean, I was going to bring my friend Phil, but he's delusional that it's easier here than it is in Thailand or Philippines where he hangs out. I said, you know, somebody will come pick up your bag in the Philippines, and they'll put it on the bus, and they'll make sure you're packed in. And here they basically look at it, go back there and load it up, okay? Because the cost of labor is so high. So Europe's extremely difficult. I would never bring my mother to Europe unless I did the 5-star trip, because it's just too onerous. It's too difficult. But in Guatemala, she's an older woman, and they respect older people, and they're going to pick up her backpack. She's going to be able to get right on the bus, and they're going to carry it up there for her. It doesn't matter whether she has a backpack or a suitcase. It really doesn't matter. She's not going to ever lift it, okay? And this is me too. I think the sign of an intelligent person is a person that knows how to use the situation to their best optimal advantage. And I don't pick up my backpack and carry it anymore. I know that there's people out there that want to earn money. They want to earn 50 cents, right? And 50 cents to walk around carrying an 80-pound backpack is a little silly. But you understand, the backpackers walk with their backpack because they want to be a trekker inside the city, walking there. It has nothing to do with their intelligence level. It has everything to do with being part of the culture. And I was this guy too. When I first started, I thought I had to walk with my backpack and do it. But I learned finally that this is a little silly. Okay, so what's the tipping point? The tipping point it's not about the tipping point. It's about choosing your battles. So you got to choose where you're going. The reason why I use a backpack is because walking up and down the steps. Last night I went up and down 40 steps, huge steps, and then I find out there's an elevator later. Later I could go take on the elevator. You know, it's in the dark. You got these uneven steps. The steps are about 500 years old, and you know, you have to go up and down these really incredible amounts of steps, and then going up and down into a subway or, you know, the metro or whatever you want to call it. And they have these ways of going underneath the highway because you can't walk across because they're too busy in Europe, so they make these underneath things, or they do the over. Thailand does over, but you have to walk over the highway. And so how are you going to do it? They don't have and sometimes they have escalators, really, because it's so bad. But it's just impossible. And the people here have been doing it all their life, and they never got to the point where they didn't have the body to do it. And then the ones that do just never leave their house, right? And so it's disability-wise, Europe is horrible. But you have to choose your battle, and you have to know what you're coming into. I know Europe, and I know that it's a thing. So I chose, because it's easier to carry a little light backpack up and down these steps than it is to carry this trolley cart that doesn't go up the steps. Trolley carts make a lot of sense in airports. I mean, airports are completely flat. They're going to give you an elevator or an escalator all the time. They never do it. So if you're only carrying your backpack inside inside the airport, a trolley is always okay. Okay, but if you actually go to a place where you actually have to walk across a piece of ground, I made a video in what was I at? I was in Sarajevo or something, where I was walking across the park, and I was trying to make the point that sometimes you do walk across the park. That means, and if you are buying a trolley cart, and my mother just bought one, or my sister bought one for my mother, and I was like going, geez, you could have asked me before you did this. A cart has to be able to be dragged across the grass. That's the worst case scenario, or against cobblestone. In Antigua, Guatemala, it's cobblestone. There's absolutely no way my mother can either drag the thing, pull the thing, carry the thing. Then they got these steps there like this. The great part is the guy's going to come out, pick it up. The driver's going to get out, pick it, put it on the thing, and then the guy in the thing's going to come out just like a bellman, right? That's why they got 5-star hotel guys. They got bellmen, bellhops, all these people that carry people's bags because they can't. And that's the way around it. That's how you bypass the problems of Europe. You stay in a 5-star hotel. But if you're not rich enough to stay in a $150 a night hotel every day, and you don't want to make it the one trip of your life, you want to make it a yearly thing, you're going to have to go down to a $50 one where you carry it. So then you need a trolley cart. But the answer is you want the best of both worlds. I would take my cart, really, and put it on my backpack the last time I came here, and then flip it around and put it on my back when I was climbing these stairs, then put it back down and roll it. So you really want a backpack that does both. When it needs to be a backpack, it is, and when it needs to be a cart. That is truly the optimal solution. And I keep trying to design a backpack that'll do this, and I also try to design a backpack that will expand. And I have came up with an epiphany. I know how to design a backpack that'll expand. I came up with the solution the other day, and I'm so happy because it's one of my biggest problems. I invented a concept that will do it so I can expand almost any backpack. I mean, it's not really easy for one of these trolley carts because they're one-stop shopping. They really don't only do one thing. Okay, but my mother's got a backpack, and I was going to sit there and ask her and get more detailed about it, and I finally realized Mom's not going to ever carry that backpack, so I don't care whether it has wheels on it or not. She does say it has 4 wheels, but it should have 4 wheels, and then it should roll over, and it should have really wide wheels. You don't want these little skin ones. You want really wide so they can roll over grass. So in a thing, and she's wanting to go heavy, okay? And so here's my mom wanting to go heavy because she's afraid of what they don't have. So it's not the tipping point, it's also the body point. Do you have the body? And do it. We actually have a link on the Hobo Traveler Index where it says bellhops and bellmans, because the savvy traveler actually learns how to utilize in each place the things. I used to do a trip in the United States where we would carry tools all around the United States, and we instantly got the skyjacker, the people to come pick up that stuff and help us carry it because there was more gear than we could possibly carry. And if you really want to do it, the tough way, take 4 bags on the thing and try to carry them. If you have more than 2 bags, you're risking a lot of troubles, okay? Because it's not really easy to carry more than 2 bags. Anybody that's carrying more than 2 bags, I really consider unsavvy. Okay, they're not really thinking with their whole brain. They really haven't understood that they haven't got 3 arms. Okay, 3 arms. But they'll put one on the front, put one on the thing. And my friend Jeff had one on the back. He said he bought a small backpack so he couldn't buy anything, which didn't work. We were in Tibet or something. He has a thing on his front, a thing on his back, and 2 plastic bags. So he's carrying 4. I was like, Jeff, you're being an idiot. But, he couldn't stop himself from buying these souvenirs, right? Even though he bought a specifically small backpack, so he couldn't buy. It never stops people. You need to get an expandable backpack so you never go to the 4-bagger thing. That's why I keep talking about it. Okay, the tipping point has nothing to do with it. It really, unless you're talking about your physical strength. And then 90% of the people actually don't have the physical strength. That's why they won't carry their computer anymore, and they go to these smartphones. Smartphones are really popular for travelers just because the weight just is so thing. And they want to say, they want the freedom to walk in a way. And if you're overweight and you're carrying an extra 40 pounds, like right now I got an extra 10 pounds on or 20, I look at that as part of my backpack, right? This is part of the weight that I have to carry. But you have to be able to get in a backpack, put on your backpack, and stand up. Okay, you got to be in a chair and stand up. You got to be able to do this on a regular basis. You got to be able to bend over with the backpack and pick it up. When you can't do these things, you don't need to give up, you need to get stronger. No, people give up and they go to the trolley cart. I was watching a Nora something from this advisor for thing, and she's like, why would anybody go with a backpack? Because you got areas of the world, like all of Africa, all of Southeast Asia and certain parts where there is not really great roads, and you have these really beat up things. I mean, Philippines is horrible sidewalks. They go up and down sideways. They're not smooth or whatever. If you're only doing the easy thing like America, you can have a trolley. The southeastern Europe has some really bad roads. They're 2-lane highways, and the sidewalks can really suck. They're just like Southeast Asia in a way. And you have to go up and down these sidewalks, so it really becomes a difficult thing to go up and down these sidewalks. You bang up your thing. When the wheels drop, see what happens with these wheels, and this is a big risk. If somebody drops that off the top of a bus and it hits one of those wheels, it's gone. The girl yesterday on the bus, I made a video about coming here, and she had a broken handle on her thing. And she says, I didn't do it, my friend used my bag. You break those handles, and what do? That's the reason why the combination of a backpack and wheels is kind of a nice idea. But you understand that the wheels make more weight, the plastic makes more weight, and it's, in a way you can always carry on the trolley cart as extra thing, and they don't care. It's like a duty-free bag. They don't do it. So choose your battles. In Europe, I would say you can almost always get away with a trolley bag. And truth is, even when you can't get away with the trolley bag, they're going to get away with it. They're going to drag it through the mud. They're going to do all these things. Because think about your little trolley bag on a big rainy day in a muddy place in Africa. You get to drag that thing through the mud. Okay, unless you're smart and go, kid, $1, go, come. And most countries are more than willing to help people. They have. Africa has old people too. Southeast Asia has old people. South America has old people. There is a way for these people to move around. It's only in the developed world where nobody assists you, unless it's just extraordinary amounts of money. It's only in the first world where we're treated like we're like my mother's fear. My mother's fear is nobody's going to help her, because in America she knows carrying that backpack, that big suitcase would be impossible, because she would have to get Dad or somebody or me to help her carry it. She doesn't realize that in 200 countries on the planet they'll help her. And that's why I'm taking her to Guatemala and not Europe, because I know her dream is Paris. And I could take her to Paris, I could take her to here, and I could make it so she never carried the backpack. But on the other side is, it would be the one trip of her life, and it's the only time she would ever be able to do it, and she would give up on traveling for the rest of her life. If I get her into Guatemala, she might go down there every winter and avoid falling in the ice, right? Oh, what a windfall for the son. The son, I told my dad when he got him out of the nursing home, he says, Mom, you understand what we're afraid is you're going to fall down and you're not going to be able to get up. And this is a real fear. And I says, you got to have the handles around the place, but you got to promise me that you'll call the lift people, the 911, and have him picked up, because we don't want to think of him falling behind the toilet and doing it. And you know, my father's dead now, but my mother was same worry. I don't want her to have to walk in precarious things. The steps we went down last night was impossible for my mother to go down. Very difficult with my knees, because right now it's like, I don't know, I got arthritis or something. But I'm going to push on through. I don't ever give up. I say the way you lose life is when you give up and take the trolley cart. Okay, so there's the tipping point, is when you give up and say, I'm too lazy to carry the cart. But I've always carried, but in Europe with the low-cost carriers, see, the low-cost carriers, your Wizz Air, Pegasus Air, Ryanair, these are cheaper. I just was on the cost of an airplane, like I'm flying for $17 from here to Istanbul. It's cheaper than the bus. Okay, but you got to be savvy enough to buy the ticket in the right way to get it, and that's the lottery. They're hoping you get lazy and you buy the more expensive ticket, right? And that's what they're depending on. They're advertising. They actually give the cheap price because they know that 80% of the people buy the thing. Okay, so there isn't really a tipping point. It is a point where you give up, but you also have to take in consideration your body weight and your back and the strength of your thing, and you definitely don't want to put on a backpack by putting it. I put the backpack here and then load myself into it. I don't, well, the small one I can do it, but I don't pick it up and flip it on my back when it's a heavy one. That's really a good way to wrench a back. And you have to get up to strength. And maybe we can have, I really should make a video on all the exercises that you should do for 2 or 3 months before you take off on a long trip. But the point is, you will survive. Everybody makes it. There is nobody. This is the great thing. It's just like a smartphone. Travel is something we all complete. We all finish the trip. So it's a challenge, but we all succeed. So it's the best kind of business or physical or mental or emotional challenge. You don't want failure. You want to always build on success. And this is why traveling is so inspirational for people, because they always win. They never completely fail. Everybody makes it to the destination. But it's my comfort level that I like, and I'm not really a hobo. I travel better than all of you.